Blackford is here. Very good to see you.
Good morning.
Are you being fair? Are you playing fair with this argument, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our politics have a plurality to them, and we are the third party in Westminster. We're the party of government in Scotland. We've won every election in Scotland over the course of the last few years. And the important thing about this is that many people that are not heavily engaged in politics, like you and I might be, will make their minds up based on those debates. And it's simply not on that there's a stitch-up that the Conservative and the Labour leaders are represented on this programme, and the party that leads in Scotland is not being represented, but not just us, because we're speaking up for other parties as well. And the fact remains, we have Prime Minister's questions in the House of Commons every Wednesday. I get to ask 2 questions as a right. That's a right we have in the House of Commons. Why is it when we're electing politicians to Westminster that the SNP are to be shut out of the debate? Because that's what it amounts to.
There is an argument to say, you know, if you try to break down the percentage of viewers who could be watching that debate, who could actually vote for an SNP candidate, I mean, it's single figures.
Yeah, but I'm making the point it's not just about the SNP, it's about other parties. But the fact is that this programme has been broadcast right across the United Kingdom. So people in Scotland are going to be watching this. We know from analysis that ITV have done themselves that a number of people make their minds up on these programmes. The first debate, in many respects, is the most important of them. And it really doesn't reflect very well on our democracy that the third largest party in Westminster, the third largest party actually by membership over the course of the last few years, is not going to be part of that debate. And please remember in this as well that we have a very distinctive voice in this in terms of we want to escape Brexit, we want Scotland to have its right to choose. We have got 2 leaders that are going to be arguing from a Brexit position that we want to defend the people of Scotland from. And I think many people, not just in Scotland, will want to hear what the SNP have to say in this debate.
Isn't there an argument that can be made by ITV, who's holding this debate, that this first debate, and it is only the first of 3 that we know of,
none of which we will be on.
Well, no, but in terms of this debate, this is about who is going to be getting the keys to number 10, and it's obviously it's very unlikely that you would. I mean, for very obvious reasons. Polls suggest it's very unlikely that Joe Swinson would.
Well, I think it will be the case that the SNP are more than likely to be the third party after this election. And it may well be that we have a hung parliament. I think people right through the United Kingdom are going to want to know what the third party will do in that scenario. So it is entirely relevant to the debate that we're having. And it simply is an affront to democracy that not just in this debate, but in the 3 debates that you've referred to, that the SNP are not invited to take part. You know,
can I ask, have you been invited to take part in Scottish debates? Are there separate debates that are being held in Scotland?
The fundamental point is that people watch these debates, that people make their mind up on these debates. And, you know, we were told in 2014 when we had a referendum on independence, please stay in the United Kingdom. We were to lead the United Kingdom, the nations of the United Kingdom to be respected. But in this case, we're being shut out. That's not right.
Yeah, but so I get that the implication from your answer is that there are going to be Scottish debates. So you will be able to present yourselves as a key party within debates for constituencies that can vote for you.
But that's not the point, because we're talking about an election to Westminster where people are going to watch these debates with the party leaders throughout the United Kingdom. And as the third party United Kingdom, we're not going to be participating in that debate. That's fundamentally flawed. And when I have to say in Sky's debate, you're going to have Joe Swinson, who is the leader of the fourth party at Westminster, and the third party is not going to be represented. I think there has to be an issue of fairness in all of this.
I'm very pleased to say, and that's well above my pay grade. In all of this, you've got to look at the various options that all the TV companies bidding for all of this and all the various sort of scenarios that they can put together. And I'm losing track because we've had so many elections and what have you over recent years. But there was one recently, wasn't it? I think it was the last general election where there was no Theresa May, but there was every other party leader involved. And that was actually pretty categorically condemned by the people who assess all of these things because there were just too many voices to get any clear messages out.
I think things have to be structured in the correct manner. There have been other debates that the SNP have been represented in, whether that would be my predecessor, Angus Robertson, or our First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon, and I think we made a very valuable contribution to those debates. I think they were actually a defining moment and one that involved not just Nicola, but the leader of Plaid Cymru at the time as well. So there is a a very clear, a very distinctive voice that we have in this. And I think it does add to that debate. Yes, it has to be constructed in the right manner, that the viewers get value out of that. But that can be done. That is an obligation that the broadcasters have.
But how would that work then? If you were invited to one of the national debates, who would stand at that podium? Would it be you as the leader of the Westminster Party, or would it be Nicola Sturgeon as the party leader who actually isn't up for election at all?
Well, that's a choice that we will make. But in some of those debates, the First Minister has appeared, and others I have done. I am the Westminster leader. She is the leader of our party. The woman that I refer to often as the boss. Whether it's the First Minister or whether myself is irrelevant, what is important that the voices of the SNP are held and heard in this debate.
Ian Blackford, good to talk to you this morning. Thank you very much.